friends, dear family, and I feel very inadequate to stand here to offer some words, mostly because I don't consider myself more worthy than most of you to stand here and say something. But nevertheless, I was asked to offer some words. So first of all, thank you for being here. I'm so surprised to see that there's so many people. It's very special that you're honoring my grandmother. When something so significant as the transfer of a soul to another world occurs, a lot of spiritual energies are released, and they work on our beings, and they teach us something. What I was taught by the passing of my grandmother is really that death is a messenger of joy. I know that I was wonderfully supported by my wife, but on that day, when Memejun passed, everything in my perceived reality was very joyful. Everything in the world, in the material world, as well as how I felt it, was just a phenomenal guide in a way as to what it means to feel joy for the passing of another soul. Of course, I acknowledge that it's not easy to feel joy exclusively. You know, I cry, and many of us are, of course, also saddened when there is physical separation. And I read a short passage that reminded me that even Baha'u'llah himself lamented when his son passed, when Mirza Mehdi passed. For the soul of the person who departs, that joy is in its purest and clearest form. There is a tablet of Baha'u'llah that addresses the matter of death and the journey of the soul. And he says that the soul will continuously progress until it attains the presence of God. When you think about that, there cannot be a greater expression of joy. And Baha'u'llah continues to say, and he describes what it means that the soul goes on this journey. And he says, the movement of my pen is stilled when attempting to befittingly describe the loftiness and glory of so exalted a station. So what I hope is that all of us who say farewell to our mother also share in that feeling of joy. I thought I would like to share with you all a few passages or anecdotes, one could say, from the writings, which we know is, of course, the most enduring source of comfort and consolement. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is the union of the souls of two lovers. It is indescribably beautiful to think that a soul, her husband, whom she hasn't seen for decades, my mom was educating to me 40 years, 4 decades, that those souls are now united. It's very easy to say it, but to contemplate what that means goes beyond comprehension. The souls of two lovers shall associate and commune intimately one with another, and shall be so closely associated in their aspirations and aims and strivings as to be even one soul. And I thought, how comforting is that? How indescribably comforting is that this woman who was such a lioness, such a strong character, is finally united. I remember that many years ago, Memejun started to tell me that she thinks Baba Hussein forgot her. Clearly not. Another source of joy that I wanted to share with you and that I read about is that we who are left behind are actually not cut off from the people who have moved on. A believer once asked Abdul Baha, how does one look forward to death? And Abdul Baha responded and said, how does anybody look forward to the end of a journey? With hope and expectation. And he continued to say that the souls who have passed there in a sphere of their own. But even though they're in a sphere of their own and we're not in the same realm, that sphere is not removed from ours. Abdul Baha says that their work, which is the work of the kingdom, is also our work. The soul, in a sense, is just as much on that eternal journey towards worshipping God as we are on this earth. And I found that it was a great source of solace to think that when one considers true reality, spiritual reality, really our aims and our purpose is the same. And that is such a unifying thought. The next thing is one that I relate to a lot, which is it's a story of a garden. Back home in Haifa, my sweet wife has beautified our home in an amazing manner. There are so many different fresh plants and flowers, and it's a source of great joy to see you care for all of this. And then I read a story of Abdul Baha giving an anecdote or a likeness of a gardener and how he cares for plants. He says, death is as if a kind gardener transfers a fresh and tender plant from a confined place to a wide and open area. And it is not the transfer of that plant that causes the withering or the destruction of the plant, but in fact, that transfer from the confined little pot, one can imagine, to a larger one, is actually what makes it blossom and grow and acquire beauty and become luscious and green. And that secret is, of course, well known to the Supreme Gardener. I know that these things that I'm conveying to you now, all of this is a very high calling, and it's not easy, clearly, to accept in its entirety for us that death really is a source of joy. And I don't want to give the impression of belittling the sadness that we all feel. So then I thought, what is the guiding principle? I found a good one, I think. So the guiding principle is in the writings of Baha'u'llah. He says, lament not in your hours of trial, neither rejoice therein, but rather seek the middle way, which is remembrance of me. Not lament and not rejoice, but instead remember God, I think that the passing of Memejun has provided all of us with a very precious opportunity to do that. To remember her and to remember God through, recalling the very precious and multiple, never-ending qualities that she possessed and exemplified for many of us. We know that we can recognize and love God through loving His creation, through loving the beauty and the divinity, the spark of divinity in the soul of another. And I think that, or I can see that for all of us, the qualities that Memejun possessed they shine resplendent. They're very present for all of us in different ways, but yet it's an enduring and abiding theme. So I think this is a beautiful practice of loving appreciation both for her and as an extension for God. And I find that very consoling. On the topic of her qualities, I wanted to read yet another short extract. Abdullah says about the journey of a soul. Entrance into the kingdom is through love of God, through detachment, through truthfulness, through purity, steadfastness, faithfulness, and the sacrifice of life. And if one pauses just for a moment, then it is so apparent how every single one of these qualities is, one of her ornaments. More way of remembering and honoring God that we as Baha'is all know, and that is service to Him. And I would like to end with this thought in mind of rendering a service to God. And that is that we can do something for her, for our beloved mother, through these acts. Shoghi Effendi said, Abdullah has told us that good deeds done in memory of those who have passed on are most helpful to the development of their souls in the realms beyond. So, thank you again very much on a more personal note to all of you for coming here.